My name's Mick, I drive cars, and today I'm going to teach you 3 things you don't understand about steering. I feel like so many people misunderstand steering and people don't really get what it's all about. Of course, you turn the circle, your car moves different directions. We all know this, but there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of depth to really understanding what steering is all about. Steering has a really special place in my heart because it's like the way I really fell in love with cars. I started off on motorbikes, and the way you lean a motorbike is very unique. And I never had that experience of like engaging with a machine until I got this car. We'll get into this more later on, but steering is the main way you can interact with a car. There are other ways, especially towards the limit as the car starts moving around with the chassis. But in normal driving, spirited driving, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, steering is your primary involvement with the car. So you've got to have good steering if you're going to have an enjoyable car. Just like a lot of my instructional videos, it's important that we talk about who this video is for and who this video is not for. This video is basically for everyone, to be honest. Even if you've just started driving and you're starting to learn how to steer a car, and you've learned the basics, you've learned how to shuffle the wheel across, you've learned how to go hand over hand and all of this stuff. Even if you're at the very basics, you could probably get some value out of this video. But the thing with steering is it's a very deep topic. So you'll get the most value out of this video if you've been driving a good few years, maybe you've done a track day or two, maybe you're a car enthusiast, you love cars, you love driving, and you want to get more out of your car. This is really the video for you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think people don't understand about steering. Do you notice people doing weird things with steering that you hate? Or just something interesting that you might do that I might not have mentioned? Let me know down in the comments. So the first thing that people do not understand about steering is that it's a two-way communication between yourself and the car. The steering wheel lets you tell the car what you want it to do. Turn left, turn right. At a very foundational level, right? But the steering wheel has an added benefit of being able to communicate back to you. This is why I love good steering in cars, because it gives you engagement. It lets you communicate with the machine, it lets you talk to the machine, and it lets you get something back. The way a steering wheel moves and wriggles in your hand and tells you what's going on underneath you is unlike anything else. It's the only part of the car that can truly have two-way communication, that you can tell it information and it can tell you information. I love good steering. Anytime you get a sense of uneasiness, maybe it's wet out, and you get that sense that the car is not sticking to the ground as well as it normally does, the main thing telling you that is the steering. It may be that you've turned into a corner and the steering's got a little bit lighter than you're used to. Maybe you've turned into the corner and the steering's got a bit heavier than you're used to. There's all different ways that cars communicate with you. And it's also down to what tires you're running on the car, what your suspension geometry is on your car. It's something that a lot of people don't understand. They don't realize it's going on. They don't pay attention to. And I was guilty of it when I first started driving. I wouldn't really, I had, what did I have at first? That Honda Civic. I wouldn't really pay attention to what the steering was telling me. But if you focus, the steering wheel gives you so much information. No matter if you've got hydraulic steering, electronic steering, manual steering, whatever it is, the steering gives you tons of information. I've got an electric rack in here, and I can feel the surface of the road if I grip the steering wheel. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit because the second section is about steering wheel grip. But it's really important that you grip the steering wheel gently. You don't want a death grip on the steering wheel. You want a finesse grip, a light grip. That way you can pick up the most amount of feedback from the wheel. Let's have a little blast here, shall we? I'm going to throw the car into some of these corners and I'll tell you what it's giving me, what feedback I'm feeling through the wheel. So I've just got on the brakes and the steering's got a little bit heavier. I've turned in, it's obviously quite heavy. It's just gone a little bit light. It's quite hard to do a play-by-play while you're actually driving quickly. Thing number 2 that people don't understand about steering is hand position. Now I'm going to show you something that blew my mind the first time somebody showed me this, right? The lower down on the wheel your hands are, the more fine your control. So a lot of people drive the wheel from down here when they're on the motorway and stuff. And a lot of people just do one of these. And I'm going to give you an actual demonstration on the road of how those all affect your steering response. There's, of course, the 9 and 3. There's a reason this is the best, and I will explain all of this once we get out onto the road. So if possible, you should try and grab the correct grip on the wheel. And as I said, the higher up you are, the more jerky your controls are going to be. The lower down you are, the more fine your controls are going to be. So if you're in a town driving situation, to be honest, most driving situations, and you only need a little bit of steering input to get you where you're going, all you're really, I mean, at this point, I'm not really enjoying the car, am I? I'm just operating it. I'm just directing it down the road to where I'm trying to get to, right? I'm not here hooning, trying to have fun in a little town. That's not what responsible and ethical petrol heads do. We're just driving normally. And for driving normally, I like the position down here. You'll actually see in limousines and chauffeur cars and some S-Class Mercedes, they have these little cutouts for your thumbs down here. Hopefully you can see that. Because for any type of smooth driving, everyday driving, normal driving, your hand should be down here because it gives you the finest amount of control. You can go around corners really smoothly if you keep your hands down here. You have a really smooth input into the steering wheel. Now if we step up to 9 and 3, that's about halfway up the steering wheel. Now we have a great balance of control. We still have some fine control because we're not all the way up the steering wheel. And at the same time, we have a good bit of quickness. We can make big inputs quite easily when we're this high up the steering wheel. So that's why this is preferred for performance driving. You can get around corners quickly and you can make big adjustments quickly, but you don't lose that granularity and that fine control that you might get from here. So some people love talking about the 10 and 2 position. I've never felt so awkward going around a corner. Oh my God. Don't put your hands up here, guys. Once you cross this 9 o'clock, this like halfway point, and you're into the upper half of the steering wheel, the controls are just too twitchy. They're too direct. They're too quick. You don't have that fine control that you once did lower down the steering wheel. I encourage you to try this. You'll be shocked at the difference. And then the number 1 offender. I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings with this. The number 1 offender is the guy that's just cruising. To be honest, man, if you drive like this and you're just trying to get to work or you're just trying to go where you're going, it's not even a big deal. I just don't think this is acceptable for performance driving or spirited driving. There's a corner coming up and I am going to throw the car around the corner in this position, but just this is not good. This is not good. This gives you the most twitchy, oh my God. This gives you the most twitchy steering response, and you have no granularity, no real control. You're just kind of pointing the steering wheel in a direction and hoping that, oh my God. You're just hoping that the car's gonna succeed. You know, I won't even brake for this car. I'll just throw it in. Oh God. So just to recap, most control down here, really granular control, really small fine movements. The best all-round position is right here, 9 and 3. That's where you've got the best of both worlds. You've got a little bit of feel, a little bit of feedback, but you can still make quick adjustments. Here, I'll show you. See, I can adjust quickly but I've still got feel in the steering. It can still talk to me. I can still make small adjustments when I need to. That's great. And then you want to be up here. There are genuine times when you want to be up here, in my opinion. That's when it's beneficial to make big movements in the steering wheel very quickly. Parking, maneuvering around cars. Like, I drive through London a lot, and sometimes you have to, like, someone's in the wrong lane and you got to go around them, or like you got to nip between a bus and something else and whatever. That's where I use this hand position. Just quickly nip around something, not a big deal. But that's what a lot of people don't understand about hand position. It's not just about, oh, you use one hand, that's bad. It's not just about, oh, your hands are at 9 and 3. You're an Institute of Advanced Motorists wanker. It's really not about that. It's about, there are a variety of hand positions. And if you always use one hand position, then you're in the wrong. That's the truth. You're in the wrong. If you adapt your hand position to the situation that you're in, then nobody can tell you a thing, because you're always doing the right thing. Look, there's a roundabout. My hand's at the top of the wheel. That's a perfect example. I needed a very quick motion. I needed to turn right very quickly. It didn't really matter for me to have granular control or really good feedback or anything like that. All I wanted to do was go right at the roundabout. So I used one hand at the top of the wheel and I swung the wheel round, because that was the correct grip for that situation. Now I'm doing 30 and a 30 on some gentle bends, and I've got my hands down here. The third thing you don't understand about steering is throttle. I bet when people saw this in the chapters, they had no idea what the hell I was talking about. Mick, makes no sense. You're talking about steering, going side to side. Throttle just helps you go forward. Nah. We need to be very careful about what types of cars we're talking about, because the throttle influences your steering differently based on the drivetrain of your car. So mainly based on whether your car's front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or rear-wheel drive. If you have a front-wheel drive car like this one, generally the throttle pedal will wash you wide. So if you're in a corner and you add throttle, it will push you out of the corner because of understeer. Now, if you're in a car like this with a limited slip differential, I shall demonstrate. I've just turned in, and now as I add throttle, the line, oh my God. God, I love this car. I absolutely adore this car, it's crazy. As I add throttle, that line actually tightens because of that limited slip differential, until we reach the limit of grip, at which point it will also wash wide. But we weren't at the limit of grip there, so adding throttle actually tightens the line. Super cool. If you're in a rear-wheel drive car, throttle will introduce oversteer if you do a lot of it. But if you take the theory of a motorbike, right? On a motorbike is rear-wheel drive. If you think about it, it's only got two wheels, but the rear one is the one that delivers the power. So on a motorbike, you use the throttle to stabilize yourself in a corner because it has the effect of elongating the wheelbase. Now, a car's wheelbase can't change, but in a rear-wheel drive car, the effect is the same. When you add throttle, it stabilizes the car in a corner. So you might have heard racing drivers and Top Gear presenters and all sorts of people mention steering off the throttle. That doesn't mean steering and turning off the throttle. That actually means using the throttle to steer the car. Now, because a rear-wheel drive car, when you add throttle, pivots from the back, you can use that to help you around a corner, to stabilize the car, or if you give it a lot of throttle, to make the front lighter, which can sometimes help it pivot around. There's so many little tricks that you can use to help you steer around the corner with the throttle pedal. The way you should use throttle in an all-wheel drive car is you take the steering wheel, you point it where you want to go, you plant the throttle, and you will go there. If you're really cheeky, you can introduce a little bit of oversteer. I've seen some like Mitsubishi Evos where they will introduce a bit of oversteer, and I mean, Ken Block famously, rest in peace, in that Mustang would you like do 4-wheel drive donuts and crazy stuff. Rally drivers will use throttle to get themselves around really tight corners by sliding the car all the way around, or like a hairpin. You can use the throttle in creative and imaginative ways as it pertains to steering, more than you'll ever realize, and more than most people know.